Okay, people. So our first review, our only review of the day, is going to be a spoiler talk for the movie Obsession. Obsession is the big hit that's sweeping the year 2026. There, everybody's talking about this movie. I've already done a review for it. It's up on the channel right now. If people want to check it out, just type in the afternoon tune and you'll be able to find it. Just type in that and you'll be able to find it. There, our review of it. I loved it a lot. It's definitely going to be on my list of favorite movies of 2026. There, it's made a lot of money there on a small budget. I believe the budget on this movie was only just $750,000, which is pretty small in terms of movie budgets there. And so far, it's made $341 million. So it's kind of one of the most profitable movies in film history. It is going to be available on VOD, I believe, on the 20th I think of July. I think they were saying it would possibly be on VOD. Let me check that to make sure. But so it is going to be out there. But it was a movie that just kept rising. It kept making money there. The word of mouth on this was really great. A lot of people go like, you got to check it out. And usually, typically with movies, you'd see a dip in the box office, but not with this one. It just kept steadily increasing and increasing there with this. And this is directed by Curry Barker there, who's one of these YouTube guys. A lot of these YouTubers now are making movies. Kane Pearsons, who was also another young director there. He made the movie Backrooms, which I also really like quite a bit. Then you also have guys like the Philippou brothers, who's made movies like Talk to Me and Bring Her Back. Then you also had Chris Stuckman make a movie, Shelby Oaks. You had Markiplier make a movie, who was another YouTuber, Iron Lung. So it seems like this new crop of young directors kind of coming into the game, making these movies there, and kind of coming out now. And like this movie, people's like, he seems like he can write his ticket in Hollywood. Curry Barker, he's already been tapped to do the movie. He's the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake there. And then Indy Nerevetti there. She's also been, rumors of she's going to be in a bunch of stuff now and out there. But I want to pass around and get you guys' thoughts on this movie. Give just kind of quick initial thoughts and ratings for it, you guys, and we can just go full on spoilers with it. So Cece, what are your thoughts on Obsession?
I absolutely loved it. I watched it twice actually.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a great experience. It was great watching it with the crowd. I love and we'll get more to it, spoiler, but I love the whole how was it was a different take on like be careful what you wish for, and the way that they had Indy Neveready, how she played Nikki's character, with it being like a twist to like a twist with, because it's like a possession type of movie, but also technically not at the same time. It was really cool how they played around with that and brought it to life. So yeah, I really, really enjoy and love this movie. So those are my initial thoughts and feelings on it.
Yeah. What about you, Davenasaur?
Same thing. I thought everything was just perfect. I would not change anything about it. The progression of the storyline, the idea and everything, it's something that we've seen before, be careful what you wish for. But like Cece said, it's a spin on that. And in that way, it makes it really unique. And then Indy Neveready, she was just spectacular. For someone who has never really made a name for herself just yet in Hollywood, I feel like this was just the perfect way for her to kind of put her name out there, put herself out there. And I think people will definitely be paying attention to her from now on.
Very good there. Yeah. And yeah, the whole cast there, a lot of people talking about it, and Curry Barker there, like I say, he was a YouTuber there, and he has one of his partners in YouTube also in this movie. The character plays Ian, the guy who plays Ian Cooper Tomlinson there. So you have him, who is part of his YouTube channel. I think the YouTube channel is called That's a Bad Idea, is what it is there. I've never heard of the YouTube channel beforehand. But it has over like 1 million subs and everything like that. So it seems like it's pretty successful there. And they do like a lot of skits and everything like that. So they're kind of one of those type of people. And I mean, this seems like, even before them, you did have people like, and Melody shouting you out there.
Hi, Mel.
You had that as well. But it seemed like, because you had like Issa Rae came from YouTube. Donald Glover, I guess you could say, he came from YouTube because he was part of a sketch comedy group. As well, Quinta Bronson as well, who she does Abbott Elementary now. Issa Rae, who did Insecure, and then Donald Glover, who he's done a bunch of stuff, music, acting, Atlanta, writing, all that type of stuff. So he's very much out there as well. But yeah, and if anybody doesn't know already the premise of this movie, it's a movie there. You have a character in the name of Bear, that's his nickname, but his is a Baron there, who's played by Michael Johnston, who he's friends with Nikki there, as well as Ian and then Sarah. They all work together in a record store. Which is the record store. The manager of the store is Andy Richter, who plays Carter there. He's the manager, owner of the record store. It seems like also, I guess Andy Richter's probably the only real kind of well-known person in this before everything kind of blew up. Was the only kind of big named actor. But yeah, so they work in a record store together, and you have it with Bear, who's always had a crush on Nikki. It seems like always seems like he's had kind of feelings for her and has had trouble admitting it there, but he kind of just wishes there when he goes into a store. He grabs this one wish willow and then makes a wish that Nikki loves him more than anyone else in the world, and we see the drastic consequences that comes with that. The monkey's paw there. We just saw an interview actually with Curry Barker where he mentioned the Simpsons episode. I think it was one of the Treehouse of Horror episodes where Bart, it was like a literally monkey's paw there, where one of the fingers kind of curls every time you make a wish aspect there, and you see the dangers of that. And you see what happens to Nikki when she's kind of possessed, and this kind of demon is kind of taking over her. But yeah, the performances were really amazing. Indy Nervetti there. I wonder if she would be nominated for this performance. I mean, it's not too uncommon to see performances in horror get nominated now, since we just saw Amy Madigan win for Weapons. That movie, she won Best Supporting. What do you guys think, Davenasaur? Could you see her being maybe nominated for something in this?
I think she deserves it. Yeah. If they're not going to consider her a lead, then Best Supporting Actress. Even I saw people were saying that she could be supported for Best Supporting, which I thought was kind of crazy, considering she is the whole reason why people are so obsessed with this movie. But I absolutely think she deserves it. Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Hopefully, like with Weapons, it getting enough word of mouth and hype behind it. Hopefully so. Yeah.
Very good there. Yeah, she's popped up on some big interviews there. I think, I wouldn't be surprised to see her. I mean, it's kind of still early in the year. I mean, usually they don't stop pumping out the Oscar movies until later in the year, November, December, so it's fresh on the critics' minds by the time February kind of rolls around. But yeah, I could definitely see her getting nominated. Like I said, it's not too uncommon now to see horror performances get nominated, and I think definitely she deserves it. I mean, with her physicality in this role there, kind of what she's able to do is very, very, really impressive there. And she even has something that's kind of blowing up there, a scene that everybody's kind of memeing at the moment, which you have right here, this scene right here.
So much. I don't think I could live without you.
You love me more than anyone in the world?
Yes, more than anyone.
Nikki,
Yeah?
does your dad really have cancer?
No. No.
What?
No. Don't do that! I thought we were having a nice day.
We are. Sit
Why
down.
does it matter? I thought we were having a nice
We are.
day.
We are.
Oh no, that woman, she's not acting at all. The woman in the back in the booth, she looked really serious. But yeah, I mean, you have that. Yeah, so she's really great there. So I really do hope she gets recognized for this. So what would be so our rating system here? So the highest you can give something is This Is Cinema, and then below that we have a peak, and then below that we have a tune in, and then below that we have a stream it. Based on that scale, what do you think you would give it there, Cece?
You said the top is This Is Cinema.
Yes.
That one. Give
Okay.
it.
Without
Yeah.
Martin
Yeah.
Scorsese pose there. Absolute
Fully.
cinema.
Yes.
So you had no issues at all with the movie? Nothing?
Well, I wanted more out of how like how things ended with the aftermath, personally, but it didn't bother me. Other than that, like I thoroughly had a great time with it and enjoyed it. Yeah,
Hmm.
if it's good enough, I don't care. If it's good enough, yeah.
Okay. What about you, Davenasaur?
I think I'll give it peak. I think it's definitely one of the best movies I've seen, but it's not going to make my tops list. It would top its category of horror, but not overall. And that's how I feel. Yeah, it's definitely peak cinema, I would say, but not this is cinema, you know?
Okay. Would it be the favorite movie you've seen this year?
Yes, absolutely. Yes,
Okay.
definitely.
Very
Yeah,
good there.
it's not even my favorite of this year,
Mhm.
but like her performance is one of
Yeah.
my favorite. My favorite possession performance, and this is technically it is what it is at the same time, which is so cool. But my favorite possession performance, I don't know her name, but from Evil Dead Rise, I that's my number one like possession performance ever. I was just blown away with how good that was, and I was that's how I felt when I watched her performance here. It was a little
Oh,
different with the physicality and things like that, but I was like, wow, like that was incredible how she portrayed this character and played like literally fighting against doing actions against her own will, and it was really cool. It was really cool to see.
yeah. Alyssa Sutherland was Evil Dead Rise.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
feel that.
and then Hunter said, "This is such a weird year. Session is one of the best films of the year. It made a ton of money, but so did Scream, which almost hates women as much as Bear does. I had that as well.
We're
What
gonna
scary?
talk about Bear later.
And Scary Movie actually made just surpassed Scream 7 actually as far as box office. Actually, I don't know if that's good or bad in terms of that. It just means I guess we're getting White Chicks too. So I guess there's that.
Hey,
Uh,
fun fact: White Chicks is like one of my favorite movies of all time. Like top
uh,
5. Yeah,
uh,
I love that movie.
Actually, funny enough, I've never seen it. I actually haven't seen all the way through. I've never seen White Chicks. Actually, it's
What?
one of those things I got to check off.
Yeah,
Um,
you gotta make that happen.
so when they do White Chicks 2, then yeah, I'll definitely go back. I gotta understand the lore of White Chicks before I move on to White Chicks 2.
Yeah.
So spoiler section with this, just to get into some details, the meaning of it, with this movie, a lot of people talking about it of like, what is the kind of the overall meaning of this movie? It's a little bit deeper than maybe just on the surface level of it. So in this movie, like we mentioned, so we have a character in Bear who makes this wish, for Nikki, who's been his crush there, for her to love him more than anyone else in the world there. And like we said, there's dire consequences to that. I mean, he down bad. He looking at all her Instagram pics, and look, you see he liked every single one too. I mean, he's also got that. So yeah, he's down bad for sure. So when that happens there, it seems like something comes over Nikki there. And somebody pointed this out. Now I haven't rewatched the movie to check it, but somebody says, so when this moment happens, when he actually does make the wish and she's standing in like the doorway, there's like a shadow that comes and kind of like we see that kind of come there. I didn't really notice that. I don't know if you guys did, maybe during if you watched it again or maybe on the initial watch, but that's what somebody said there. But we see that clearly that this person that is with Bear, because we see a kind of a montage of them together, just like a regular couple, happy and everything like that. That this isn't really Nikki. That this is something that's taken over her body and possessed her like a demon or whatever. And we see moments where Nikki fights to kind of come out. We see moments like at the party when she's there where, she takes a bottle and hits herself in the face with it, screaming, help. There's moments when she's asleep when it seems like the real Nikki comes out there and begs for Bear to kill her there. And this kind of sparked of like, who is the real villain of this movie? Is it Bear? Is it maybe some other people? What say you there, Cece?
Immediately Bear.
No question there.
Immediately. When she said she was in the bed and asked him to kill her, And he said, what's so wrong with being with someone like me? I was like, oh, kill this man immediately. He has to go get out of here. That sealed the deal for me. But yeah, Bear 100,000%. I cannot be convinced otherwise.
And what do you think the movie is saying with the Bear character? Just about relationships or men or dynamics there, maybe between men and women?
I mean, it's maybe cliche, but like, be careful what you wish for. Like, you can think you may want someone to love you a certain way. You have sometimes we're more in love with the idea of someone than the actual person. And if you actually got what you thought you wanted, you realize, oh, that's not love. That's not real. Like, before, I noticed it on the second watch. She was talking about writing a book, and she said it was a romance novel or books that she was writing. And then he said something about love, and he was like, isn't that the same thing? And she was like, no, romance and love those are two different things. And I think this very much showed that she didn't have romantic feelings for him, but him making that wish and her just having this crazy obsessive love for him, they played very, very different.
Okay. Yeah. What say you there, Davenasaur?
So I think this movie is about how dangerous it can be for someone to idealize and be infatuated with you while labeling that as love. Just seeing how Bear goes from, saying he's so deeply in love with her, going through all of her photos and stuff like that. I think that's the scene that really symbolizes that he's not really about her herself, but just the image that he sees. And we can see that in a lot of scenes throughout the movie, right? There's a couple of times where he's asking her to be like Nikki, which is him admitting that he knows that that's not the real Nikki, and he just wants her to act as if she is. And to him, that's the ideal. It's not ever about actually obtaining Nikki herself. It's about the idea that he can be with someone like Nikki. And I think they do a really good job of humanizing her character as well throughout the small scenes that we do get to see the real Nikki. There was the scene in the bed, like Cece mentioned, where she was just begging him to kill her, which shows that she is selfless. A scene where she wants to give money to a homeless man. She is kind of the natural archetype that you see, the popular girl who's liked by everybody. But I think what they do is they kind of add more layers to her. It turns out that all of her friends are not really her friends at all. Sarah's going behind her back to try to get the guy that she's with. Ian is someone who really doesn't really care about her at all and is only there for her body. And then Bear is the person who claims to be this person who can be her white knight, someone that can give her everything that she deserves. Meanwhile, he's the one who's really stealing away her autonomy and trapping her within herself. And he knows that, and he chooses to do so anyways. The times where she mentions she doesn't want to be with him, she's never been with him. So he chooses to keep her in that position. He calls the number on the back of the box to speak to the owner about what to do to not even reverse the wish, but to change it, to alter it.
That was crazy.
Yeah, to alter it. So it wasn't about him freeing her ever. It was about how he could make it so that things were better for him, things to benefit him, because he was getting a little bit overwhelmed. Because he was scared, not because he realized that he was stealing something from her that belonged to her. It was about what he could do with what he wanted. That's what I think. And he's definitely the villain.
Like, in summary, in conclusion.
No debate. Yeah, no debate there.
And this is the scene right here.
Yeah.
I was calling to see if there's a way I can alter a wish. Cancel your wish. No. It's okay to keep. I just want to know if I can alter it a little. I'm sorry, we don't really do that. No? Do you have any questions about how the wish works, or if you read the back of the box? Is it even real? Yeah, it's real. No, I know that is her love real? Just because you chose this for her doesn't make it less real.
Interesting there. And that the voice there is actually the director, Curry Barker, that makes a voice cameo over the phone there. And it doesn't play also the other part where he says like, well, I don't know, let's ask her. And then it's like her screaming on the other end of the phone there. So it's like her soul or something is somewhere, someone trapped that it's just waiting there. And then I can't remember, was that scene after she hit her face with the bottle? Actually, after the party? I can't exactly remember when they did that, when he
don't
did
remember.
that. Yeah, or I think maybe it was after like she just stood there waiting for him to come back for work. I think maybe. I can't remember exactly where that scene is, but like where they place it in the movie. Because it's been a minute since I watched it. But yeah, I think that was a big moment where like, oh yeah, definitely Bear is kind of the villain of this movie. But then some people have been mentioning like a good kind of side villain of this, or maybe he's actually the main villain, is Ian, who's
Oh, for sure.
Cooper Tomlinson's character there. So why people say he's the villain is that so he's the best friend of Bear, but he never tells Bear that this whole time he's actually been on again, off again with Nikki. Like they've been sleeping together. In that, you know, Ian Bear is coming to Ian for advice on how to like dating tips and like, okay, how can I ask Nikki out and everything like this? And he makes him practice. And there's the beginning of the movie where we see the opening where we see Bear is like has this waitress and he's like practicing what he's gonna say to her and say to Nikki. And yeah, so I think it just as a friend, you think he would just tell him like, well, hey man, like me and her have been together, we've been on and off again, we've kind of hooked up before. What do you guys think about Ian in the story there, Cece?
Yeah, definitely very much playing in Bear's face. Like, yeah. When I learned, like, when they revealed that he was hooking up with Nikki, I was like, you got to be kidding me. He's just sitting here, like, talking him into, oh, let's practice what you would say to her. And then telling him to call her Freaky Nikki, knowing she hates that. Just like, yeah, that's just sabotage. Yeah, that was cruel. That was cruel. And maybe he was like, well, I'm not really into her like that. So I don't know. I feel like as your best friend that is so infatuated with this person, like it would be right to let them know, like, hey, we hooked up before. Like that may have changed Bear's whole perspective or his attitude towards approaching her. Well, he really didn't approach her. That's kind of how this whole thing happened. But yeah.
What do you think, Davina?
I mean, yeah, I think he is really kind of just he's a jerk. He's not a good friend. Very self-serving, definitely. And you see that through a couple of different scenes. But whereas his kind of crimes, I would say that he's committed, it's really just about him being kind of a bad person. But with Bear, I feel like he really is just the villain. I feel like Ian kind of is just a good contrast for us to look at for him versus Bear, whereas Bear is someone who tries to present himself to be the nice guy, someone who's very selfless and socially anxious and doesn't know how to interact with people. I think that's a disguise. Whereas Ian is very true to himself. He doesn't pretend to be better than he actually is. He's throughout every single step of the way, you've always seen that he's not a good person. From the beginning, you know, finding out that he's sleeping with Nikki and everything like that, you're kind of like, okay, so he's not a good friend. He didn't tell Bear. Then towards the end, when he wishes for $1 million instead of, you know, rescuing Nikki after everything that Bear told him, that's another scene where you can kind of get that too. But he's never given us the implication that he was a better person than he presented himself to be. Whereas Bear tries to make it seem as if he is better when actually he's much, much worse. He's much more dangerous. He's a much bigger villain than Ian would be.
Yeah. And I mean, Ian, and I don't know, you get you perspective because you are women there. I mean, did you like what Bear was doing, at least at the beginning with his whole kind of thing? Did it seem like, okay, because when I initially saw the opening scene, I was like, oh, this is somebody that, you know, he's maybe been dating for a long time, or maybe he's about to propose, because it seems like very super heavy. Like I've loved you forever, and I've always wanted to be. It's like, well, damn. It seems like, I mean, I get they've been friends. It seems like they've been friends since high school. But it seemed like kind of heavy. I don't know. Would that be a good? Was he doing with the waitress? Would that have been a good opener? Should he have stuck with that? I don't know.
I don't know if that would have worked on. That would, like, sir, relax.
Yeah,
That's a little much.
Yeah.
Relax. It is
Yeah.
not that deep, sir. What are you
Yeah.
talking about? That would have scared me. Like, if I had a close guy friend that talked to me like that, like, dude, several steps away, please. What? That's a bit much. It's a bit much. But that showed the infatuation he had. Like, it was more of his idea of her. Like, you've been hanging around this girl, just relax and just talk to her. Like, that extra stuff was just, that was too much.
Yeah. And then also the record store there, he had another girl there that actually did like him. That actually was really into him there. So this person also, you had Megan Lawless who played Sarah there as well. And we're people are talking about, Bear's got biblical levels of greed. I mean, he had both this woman and tried to also have Megan Lawless there as Sarah there as well in this. Yeah, what you all think about her character there, and then her kind of going like, she's the one that told Bear, like I actually do have feelings for you and I liked you there. Yeah, what about that? What do you think about her character? If Davina, you want to talk about her character?
You go first.
I think she is to Nikki what Ian is to Bear. She kind of is there for us to get a sneak peek into how others perceive Bear, because the majority of the movie is through Bear's POV. So we're seeing how he wants to victimize himself, right? But then here comes in Sarah, who is kind of a character to prove to us that he is maybe better with women than he tries to present himself to be. Whereas he's trying to come off like this, not like kind of like a wounded deer, where he wants to be so innocent and so pure and lustless and everything like that. Here comes Sarah, who kind of is like, oh well, I actually do really have feelings for you, and she is pretty genuine about them, to the point where she doesn't even tell her best friend about it, and she's going behind her best friend's back to try to get to this guy, and hoping that he'll kiss her at a party. Meanwhile, his girlfriend is spectating less than 5 feet away.
That was some crazy work.
Yeah. I think she's very human. I mean, she's not the greatest person. She's not a great friend, obviously, but I think that her character was necessary for us to be able to see how others can perceive Bear versus how he perceives himself. And it's obvious that there were things that she liked about him, based off of what she saw. But I also think that she's kind of a direct mirror for Bear as well, because I'm not completely convinced that she actually really liked him more so than the image of him. And it seems as though him getting with Nikki was really what pushed her to finally communicate her feelings. Whereas if they were really as deep as she wanted, as she claims them to be, I would have seen that happening way earlier. I feel like it became kind of a trigger for her to do that, knowing that was her best friend's man, versus her having had those feelings for a long time and having told him at any point throughout their entire friendship. Again, you mentioned that they've probably been friends since high school for a very long time, and this has never come up until the moment where she was stealing him from her best friend.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
Yeah, and then we see also that she also tells them that her and Nikki have had conversations, and that Nikki only saw him as like a friend or like a brother, like a brother, and everything like that. So she was just kind of like, it's kind of just seemed like her and Ian are dumbfounded, like, well, why did she get with you? There must be something going on, you know what I mean? Like, it must be something weird happening there with that. So she did kind of mention that. But I don't know. Do you think that's something that also Ian should have mentioned to? Mentioned to Bear there that Nikki did see him that way, and maybe there is no shot that if he did confess his feelings that he can't really get out of that, or is that also something there? Maybe he should have done there, Cece.
I think so. I think that there was a mention that Bear was already aware that Nikki saw him as a friend or brother. I think that was already relayed to him before, if I remember it correctly. But yeah, if he just would have told him like that he had already been hooking up with her, that would have helped clear the air on many other things. Like, okay, well, she sees you as a friend. Like, just don't have him go through all of these hurdles and embarrass himself. Like, just knowing what's coming. Like, yeah. And Amber, her role, she just it just really showed us how goofy Bear is. That's really what that was. Because this girl, like, she actually, I could tell from the beginning she was into him. Now, to the levels, I'm not sure, but she was definitely into him. And he was just like, can't see it, obsessed with Nikki. With Nikki. Like, dude, she's right there. She's right there in front of you. What are you doing? But yeah, that's my take on that.
Yeah. And she gives him in that card like an opening there, and she says, like, if there's anything you want to say to me, here's the moment to say it. I'm right here. Like, just admit if you have feelings for me, this is it. But he didn't
and she looked disappointed too. And I don't know if that was because, I don't think it was because she actually was willing to give him a chance or to entertain it, but she was like, dude, like, it's very clear she could see it, but he's just not being honest. She's just not being honest, and she just looks so disappointed.
Yeah. the director apparently he tried to do it where both versions of people, so people can kind of leave it more into interpretation of that Nikki. Maybe there's some people can believe that she really liked him and then maybe would have dated him, or then maybe people who said like there's no way. I don't know. I feel like it's really not. So I mean, I feel like it's kind of straight than not. She wasn't really into him. At least I think it's kind of more open that I'm more leaning to it. Yeah, very much. She definitely was not into him that much. I don't know. What about you, Davina? So you think that it was kind of 50-50 could have gone, or do you think no, it was more Nikki, there was no shot?
I think she actively wasn't into him, but it wasn't that he had zero chance. I think that if he had been honest with her and communicated with her more, I think she might have given him a shot. But because she kind of stuck her hand out, gave him a chance to tell her the truth, and she was disappointed. I think in that moment she was disappointed because he was still choosing to lie, whereas she could see his feelings so clearly. And I really do think that that was an opening for him to kind of like really, really let her know and everything. And she was telling him, "Hey, I already know. It's okay. Like, just tell me the truth." And I think that if he had already taken that chance, then it would have gone completely differently. Whereas I don't think she actively had feelings for him the way that he did for her. I think that she could have been interested in him or could have grown to see him that way, but he ruined that completely. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
And then last thing we talk about is the ending. So like I said, the going through all this, Bear finally realizes like, okay, I can't alter it. I can't fix this. I gotta cancel. I gotta like make another wish to try to cancel out my wish. But only one person can only make one wish with the one wish willow. So he's like, okay, I gotta go in. And this happens after poor Sarah. After what happens to her, where she gets her face, you know,
Sorry.
Bashed in with a brick there. I mean, after that, it's like Jesus. So you had that, which I mean, that was just it just turned into very comical and everything like that when that happened. And the way they kind of did that, the behind the scenes of it was pretty funny too. That kind of how that happened, but yeah. So I thought that was really good there. But yeah, so he's like, okay, I can't. So I got to do that, but so only one person can make one wish. And then so he grabs another one wish willow and then he brings it to Ian. And then he says like, okay, I need you to make a wish to cancel out my wish. And he tries to explain it and run it down. Of course, he sounds fucking crazy. Like, I made this wish and I made her fall in love with me and all this other stuff. So of course, Ian doesn't believe it's real. So he breaks it and goes like, well, I wish for $1 billion. And he breaks it. And then money literally comes raining from the sky with that. And then, he just goes like, fuck, what can I do? So he goes back home there where Nikki has Sarah's body all tied up. She's scalped her. She's removed her skin, everything, parts of her skin, so she can put the tattoos on herself and her hair on her, and all the things like that. And then another way to get out of the wish is like, well, he could just kill himself. So he kind of tries to work up the courage. He takes the pills there that his cat took, that his cat died from. And he's trying to take those, and he kind of just chickens out. He doesn't really do it until Nikki actually makes a wish, and then it seems like she makes a wish for Bear to fall in love with her. And then that's when he kind of comes out of the bathroom that he's in, and then he ends up dying. There. Well, actually, something else funny happens because Ian comes in and he goes like, "Hey man, I want $1 billion," and then she's instantly there. Let's see, that happens, but yeah, so she, and when he finally dies, that's when she's able to be free, and she snaps out of it, and then here she is in the middle of all this carnage, with 3 of her friends dead. She's covered in blood, everything like that, and yeah, and the movie ends with that. And you said, Cece, you didn't, maybe the ending you didn't kind of like that because it didn't feel complete enough, or it left maybe too much ambiguity of like what's next there. You said.
Yeah, not too much. Like I like satisfactory endings with anything. So if I don't have like full closure on like, ooh, what happened? Like, is she going to jail? Like what? Like just like like, did she go to jail or not? Like, did she go through all this and survive this just to go to jail? That's insane. I wanted to know like what the outcome of things were for her, even if it was just like a quick 1 minute. Like Weapons, they gave you like a quick little summary of like what happened in the aftermath, even though I have more questions on that too. But I wanted to know like, okay, after this, what happens? Not like a full length movie, just it's like informational kind of thing. But yeah, I still love what we got though. Still loved it. Yeah.
What about you, Davenasaur?
Oh man, I would have loved for her to get out of all of that and get her life back, you know, but I think realistically, to me, the only ending out of this is both tragic for her. Either she ends up in jail for crimes she did not commit, you know, knowing that she did it, because I do think that my interpretation is she is spectating exactly what happens to her, or at least she does have some idea when she does reawaken. The second outcome is that she's traumatized by seeing all of this carnage in front of her, seeing all three of her best friends, or who she believed to be her best friends, dead in front of her, and knowing that she's somehow responsible for it, even if she doesn't have to go to jail for it. I kind of like the not open-endedness, but the idea that we don't know what happens, because I think that I think that whole movie is just tragic for Nikki all the way through. So I think that viewers know that whatever the outcome is, it's not going to be good. And finding out that she was in jail, I think that would have upset me a lot. You know, I think the preferred outcome between the two is that she goes to therapy. She doesn't go to jail for the crimes that were caused by Bear, and somehow is able to move on with her life. But I don't think that that's likely. But I'm okay with it ending there. I think that ending with her screaming and crying over seeing all of that in front of her, I think is really something that was very, very impactful. I feel like that's something that I'm never going to be able to get out of my head. I just keep on replaying that scene inside of my head when she finally wakes back up and sees all of this in front of her for the first time, without having something fighting to take over her mind again.
Yeah. There was someone brought up that I didn't pay attention to until actually not on either watch, but when she makes the wish, it seems for him to love her, because he took the pills and he was like, no, I'm about to puke this out. And then she makes the wish, and he's still like aware of what he's doing, but he stops himself from puking up the pills. Then he goes in there and, you know, just stares at her, and then ends up ODing on the pills. And they were like, well, he never really loved her like that, like for him, because he was going to stop himself from killing. Like, killing yourself is like, that's scary, but he wasn't willing to go those lengths in its entirety for her. But the version that did.
Yeah,
that was interesting. I was like, oh, I didn't think about like that. Bear could get out. Like, Bear's the ops. Bear is the ops, man. Fully the ops. Yeah, and me, I hope her ending is going to be traumatic. She needs like severe therapy, but okay, maybe, because I'm thinking unless there were cameras, it's going to be hard to like know that she like was involved in the murder, like she murked everyone. Maybe because Amber, she texted Bear to meet her in her car, so they break like, Bear, will you meet up in the car, and she's dead all of a sudden. Maybe they could pin that on him. Maybe he went crazy, period. Maybe he went crazy. He was mad that Nikki was hooking up with his friend Ian. Whatever, killed everybody and himself. That's wild, but I'm like, maybe that could work for her. She goes through this healing journey and writes like a best-selling book on the whole experience. Or the experience, because you can't like, wish Willow caused this to happen. Write a whole book about it, and then have a successful career, and still have trauma.
That's obsession too. There you go. Obsessed. You can't do obsessed because that's Beyonce. You can't do that one. You gotta call obsession.
That's my happy ending for that. So.